Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Hanyakuldu. Now, the authorities in northwest Nigeria say they've secured the release of 100 women and children who were kidnapped by bandits 6 weeks ago. The Zamfara State government said they were released without any ransom being paid, but gave no further details. The victims are being given medical checks before returning home. Zamfara has witnessed a surge in attacks by gunmen targeting villages and schools. The group were abducted on the 8th of June in Zamfara State, and 4 people were killed during the incident. Since December last year, more than 1,000 people have been abducted. Most have later been freed, reportedly after ransoms were paid, but some have been killed. The Nigerian authorities have blamed the incidents on bandits, armed robbers, cattle rustlers, and other armed militia operating in the region who are largely motivated by money. Well, for more of this latest development, I'm joined now on the line by the Nigerian security and defense analyst, Dr. Kabiru Adamu, who's also CEO and founder of the security firm Beacon Consulting. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. You got up and strolled off just as I was introducing you there, so I got a bit worried, Kabiru, but jolly nice to see you on your seat. So a positive development in the unhappy saga of kidnapped victims. Just remind us of who these people are who've been freed.
So this, again, good evening, Charles, and compliments of the season. Eid Mubarak to Muslim listeners. Zamfara State, as you know, has been the epicenter of banditry and other criminal activities. Now, precisely about 41 days ago, one of the bandit camps abducted women over an argument between that bandit camp and vigilantes in Shinkafi local government. So these are local residents of communities in Shinkafi local government who have been caught in this ongoing argument and conflict between Hada communities and resident farmer communities in Zamfara State that unfortunately has been modeled up in the Nigerian media space. And so sometimes it's very difficult to really understand the dynamics and the issues at play. But these are ordinary citizens, villagers who have, going about their day-to-day business and were victims of this kidnap for ransom gangs that are operating in Zamfara State.
And the statement released by the police about them said they were set free unconditionally without any ransom being paid. I mean, that's always a crucial question in this because the payment of ransoms have been very controversial indeed. How likely is it that no ransom at all was paid? I expect a lot of Nigerians would be skeptical.
So that's the narrative that's being put out by the Zamfara State government. Let's remember that the Zamfara State government has insisted that it would and it is pursuing what it calls, both the carrot and stick approach. So on the one hand, it's discussing with those bandits that are willing to, lay down their arms, and then on the other hand, it's encouraging the federal government to use the federal might as well as state initiatives to forcefully either arrest or kill some of these bandits. So in this instance, the narrative it's putting out there is that it used this carrot approach and that there was no ransom in any way paid either by it or its agents to secure the release of these 100 persons. Unfortunately, we're aware that 1 or 2 of these persons died. And so it begs the question, what did the government exchange to get these victims released, despite this narrative that it's insisted that it didn't pay any financial ransom. Now, I've argued in the past that ransom can be non-financial. There are other, perhaps, agreements, either in kind or even some, releases that by the state government that would be given to these bandits in exchange for the freedom for these 100 persons. I think the Zamfara State government should be more clear in terms of what it did. And more importantly, I also believe that the federal government would need to come out with a framework that would guide whatever it is that these state governments are doing. My worry is that these types of engagement, despite the insistence by the Zamfara State government that it didn't pay any ransom, whatever it did allow could be an encouragement for further banditry and kidnap for ransom.
But I mean, in your considerable experience, wide-ranging experience, in fact, Dr. Adamu, it's your sense that there is always a quid pro quo in these relationships, because I mean, that's what these people are in business or in crime for. But the question is whether it was done for money or for something else if ransom wasn't paid.
Exactly. So in the past, the narrative that the Zamfara State government has given is one of amnesty. In other words, come dialogue with us and we would forgive you all you've done in the past. Now, some of us have argued that does the state government has the power to, as it were, grant amnesty for criminal offenses, some offenses that are actually federal offenses? And the answer is no. So again, it's very unclear. It's most likely that there was something in exchange. Now, if it's the amnesty, it would raise the question of whether the state government has the capacity to grant that amnesty. Now, if it's not amnesty, if it's something else, what it would be the consequence of that thing. And so that is where transparency is needed. And I think it's absolutely important that the Zamfara State government be open in this regard.
And I know you kind of skirted around this earlier, but do we have any idea who might have kidnapped them?
Well, the gang in question, the gang leader, I've tried, to source for his name and what he represents. I'm told that there is an audio message out there. A clip of it has been forwarded to me, but in terms of putting him to other sources that would corroborate his identity as well as his name, unfortunately, I haven't received that yet. One thing that has become very obvious is that he's, as it were, known to the state government, known to the residents of Shinkafi local government, and more importantly, known to the security agencies, especially the police. One of the most, I would say, disturbing elements of the info that became available to me is the fact that there was some silent agreement between him and the communities in Shinkafi that he wasn't going to attack those communities, but he could, of course, go out and attack neighboring communities. And so it begs the question, what, in terms of the discussions that the Zamfara State government is having with these bandit groups, what kind of authorities, what kind of agreements, and what kind of allowances is it given to them to operate within its territory, and by so doing, allow a base for launching attacks to other neighboring states such as Sokoto, Kaduna, and Katsina, as the case may be.
And so what do we know about what has happened to the group who've now been freed? Are they in good shape? Are they able to go home? I understand they're being debriefed.
Yes, again, yet to be confirmed. I'm told that out of the 100 that were kidnapped, one lady lost her life, died not as a result of any adverse action by the group that held her, but for natural consequences. It may be because she was traumatized or other factors. She may have had a disease and ailment that the group could not manage, but then we're told that she died. We're also told that a child of one of the victims also died. And interestingly, that child was the mother and the child were brought back into Shinkafi where she was buried. And then, of course, she was taken back by the abductors. So very strange news and developments, really, Charles. It begs you, who is in control? What in terms of the security forces, what kind of control do they have in those locations? And then how these bandits are able to exercise this level of impunity without any consequence in those locations.
Dr. Kabiru Adamu, we always appreciate your analysis. Thank you very much indeed. And Dr. Kabiru Adamu is a security and defense analyst and CEO and founder of the security firm Beacon Consulting.